I'm sorry. Good evening. Well, I apologize. For the PowerPoint. I know a lot of people are turned off by PowerPoint. I wish I didn't have to use it. I wish I was one of those scientists that doesn't need PowerPoint. You know the kind, that dresses fancy, appears on TV talk shows, gets money out of investors really easily. I wish I was that kind of a scientist. But I'm not. I'm the kind that, well, that needs to use PowerPoint. I get distracted. I go off on tangents. And biotechnology is a complicated topic, even for a sophisticated audience like yourselves. I've always used PowerPoint. Before PowerPoint, I used slides. I used an overhead projector. Oh, well, you know, technology changes, but some things never change. You turn down the lights, and the audience falls asleep. I hope you don't do that. I hope you got a good night's rest last night. I know I should begin with a story, or an anecdote, or a joke. Oh, but that's the hardest part for me. I used to be good at telling stories. I could tell you stories that, but that was a long time ago. Nowadays, whenever I try to think of a story, or an anecdote, or a joke, I just get a headache. Oh, and I can't just come out here and tell you any old story. I can't tell you a story like, I don't know, for example, a story about my wife leaving me this morning. That's a story. It's a dramatic story, but it's not relevant. I should be telling you a story that puts you at ease, that makes you comfortable. In case you're having second thoughts. In case you're thinking, PowerPoint presentation about science? It could be boring. It could be complicated. And Washington's a busy place. You've probably seen half a dozen PowerPoint presentations this week already. You're thinking, busman's holiday. When I was putting the final touches on this presentation last night, it occurred to me, I could tell you the story about the time I met Richard Feynman, the great physicist. I was taking a flight to London, and I took my seat, and there he was. I was sitting right next to him. I recognized him immediately. I couldn't wait to introduce myself and tell him how much his work has meant to me. But before I could, he took out one of those eye masks, and he swallowed a pill. And he went to sleep. He slept through the movie. He slept through dinner. He slept through the really bad turbulence we had. I thought, this man is a genius, even at sleeping. He was sitting in an aisle seat, and I had to go to the bathroom after dinner, but I didn't want to disturb him. The man's a genius. So I just waited and thought about all the things I would say to him when he woke up. But he didn't wake up until we touched down. But that was my opportunity, so I prepared to say all the things I prepared to say to him. And that's when it happened. I spit all over him. I had a lot of saliva in my mouth, and sometimes I stutter, and He was really nice about it, though. He just took out a handkerchief and he wiped his face. I had another chance. We were both getting our bags, but the woman across the aisle, she was taking her suitcase down from the overhead luggage compartment and elbowed me right in the solar plexus. But when I got my wind back, he was gone. He was gone as quick as a quark. Well, the unstable variety, because some quarks clump together. They stick around for a long time, like the up and down quarks. Anyway, my presentation is divided into 3 parts. There's the introduction, in which I introduce Bacillus apocalypse, our new drug. And then there's the second part, in which I explain the implications of Bacillus apocalypse, our new drug. And then there's the third part, in which I conclude. I'll try to be as entertaining as possible, even though I'm not going to tell you any jokes. And even though biotechnology is not an inherently entertaining topic, I mean, it's not like Star Wars or the Super Bowl. No, honestly, I don't know why anybody finds baseball entertaining. And as for Star Wars, I hated Star Wars. I tried to explain to my wife that those lightsaber battles make absolutely no sense scientifically. She told me to take a chill pill. She always used that expression. Oh, listen to me, I'm talking about her in the past tense, like she's dead. And she's not dead, far from it, or so she told me this morning. But that's a different story. I told you a story already, and the wrong story maybe, but anyway, I have to get on with this presentation. Bacillus hippocrates, what you know as the love bug, was a revolutionary advance in science. But to understand our new drug, you need a little background on gene mapping.